Okay, so today I'm gonna give you guys 5 very important tips in order to get better, improve your game, and win games. So these 5 tips helped me a lot. Helps me a lot to win tournaments and it helped me win a lot of trophies. So guys, this is for both beginners and advanced players. Some people got to hear some of them. And so first off, we're gonna start off with number 5. So don't move your queen out too early. So what I mean by this is I see a lot of people who I just started playing, and they just keep moving their queen, trying to capture all the pieces on the board because it's the most powerful piece, and trying to go for simple checkmates. So if you're playing in a tournament, you don't want to try something as silly as like the 4-move checkmate. And then once they get blocked, they come back, they keep trying like this. And then I see a lot of people, they bring their pawn up to try and move this pawn out of the way so that they can go for the checkmate. But just if you keep moving your queen out too early in the game, first of all, you're not gonna while your opponent is developing his pieces and controlling the center, you're just gonna be moving around trying to get pieces, trying to capture pieces, do checkmates with your queen, and you can possibly lose it. So in the opening, so let's say you move your queen out here, kind of a silly move on the second move in the game, and then if black does a move like this, and you don't see the bishop that is trying to capture your queen, you can take the pawn, you can try to defend your pawn, and then when you do that, black will just take your queen like that. I see this a lot. And yeah, so just try not to move your queen out too early in the game, and that's a very important tip. So next, for number 4, I want to talk about developing your pieces. A lot of people in the beginning of the game, they move one piece more than once, which you should not do. So let's say the game starts off, they start moving this. Black is out here developing his pieces, and some players, they just move the same piece more than once, trying to achieve some sort of goal, but really achieving nothing. So number 4 is develop your pieces and try not to move. When I say develop your pieces, I mean try not to move other pieces more than once. So you want to give every piece about 1 to 2 moves, not more than 2 moves. So unless you're being threatened. So develop your pieces and try not to move pieces more than once in the beginning of the game. So next, I want to talk about controlling the center. So controlling the center is very important on winning the game. A lot of people, they move their knight. Instead of moving it here, they move it here, which is not controlling the center at all. Because you're not really achieving anything. Like, you could go here and there, but that's about it. But if you move here, you have more squares that you could go to. You have much more squares. You can move to a bunch of places. You can move here, you defend this pawn there, and you're controlling the 4x4 square in the middle here. This 4x4 square in the middle, that's basically what you want to control. So next, I'm going to talk about try not to ruining your pawn structure. So number 2 is try not to ruin your pawn structure. So what I mean by that is when there is so try not to double up your pawns. And I'm going to show you an example. Let's see. Let's say black comes here. White moves. Black moves out the way. So as you can see, your knight is being threatened by the bishop here. So now I'm going to threaten the bishop to take it because the bishop is annoying me, so I want him to just take it. So once the bishop takes it, you don't want to take it like this. and now you're doubling up your pawns, which is not good at all. Doubling up your pawns can just, because once you're in the end game, double pawns are horrible, and you want to undouble them. If you need to double the pawn to take the piece, that's the only way. Then you want to try to undouble it later on in the game, because when the game moves on to the end game, you're going to be stuck with double pawns, which can't really do much. You want to keep your pawn structure like a chain, like a defense. It's like similar to the Sicilian defense. So you want to keep a nice chain of pawns. Okay. So next, we're going to talk about castling. So the last tip we're going to talk about is don't forget to castle. Castling is very important. If you don't castle, your king will be stranded in the middle, and it will eventually get checkmated. So you either want to castle king side or queen side. So what I mean by that is here or here. I normally go king side, and castling is very important for the protection of your king, and your king is the most valuable piece, because if your king is stranded in the middle of the board, you're going to get checkmated eventually. If you don't get checkmated now, you'll get checkmated later in the mid game. So that's why you want to castle to keep your king very safe in order to win the game. And we're going to go over the 5 tips once again. So don't move your queen out too early. Develop your pieces. Control the center. Don't ruin your pawn structure. And do not forget to castle. And that's it.